Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the pretty village of Buriton in Hampshire. It's about 2 miles to the south of Petersfield, right on the eastern edge of the county. And today we're going to be doing a roughly 4.5 mile circular route, starting and finishing in the village. We'll have a quick look round the village at the beginning, and then we're going to head out in a southwesterly direction through some disused Limeworks. We'll be on part of the South Downs Way. We'll be going through the Queen Elizabeth Country Park. We'll be seeing some wonderful woodland and some quite stunning scenery and a few other interesting things along the way. Now I'm filming in the middle of April. It's a quite glorious spring day. The sun is out. Temperature, well, it's going to get to about 14 degrees later on. Perfect for walking. So do join us. Well, I've parked my car at a little free car park right next to the idyllic pond that's in the centre of the village. We'll be having a look at that later. So we're going to start off by having a little look around the village itself. And what better place to start than the church? It's St Mary's Church. Originally there was a smaller, possibly Saxon church listed here in the Domesday Book, but the present church was built between 1150 and 1200, but has had many alterations and parts have been rebuilt since. The nave and chancel certainly date to the 13th century, although the stonework was refashioned and windows repaired with new glass in 1887. The tower is a plain structure with a clock facing west. The original tower was destroyed by a fire in 1712 and rebuilt in 1715. I think it's got 6 bells now. There was a former clock with a face on the north side, and that was put up in 1717 so it could show the time to the Manor House and farm labourers on that side. You can still see the outline just about in the stonework where it was. The south porch was built in 1680. Now it's quite a big church for a village this size. The reason being that it was originally the mother church for a parish of 6,000 acres, including Petersfield and Sheet. Well, those two settlements became a separate parish in 1886. Well, just before we leave the church, I want to show you something on the northern side. It's a little bit dark, we're in the shadows here. Back in 1994 they added a meeting room, which is just behind me here. And I say it was added to the north side, but they found graves here, which is quite unusual for a Christian church to have many burials on the northern side. It tended just to be suicides or criminals or unbaptized infants. So they had to raise the extension by 0.5 metre to minimise disturbance to the graves, and that explains why there are some steps here. Well, right to the north, next door to the church, is the Manor House. Originally dates from the 12th century, but largely rebuilt in the 18th century by the father of the historian Edward Gibbon. Now, Edward, he inherited the estate in 1770, and he wrote the book The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire here at this house, in what is now called the Gibbon Room. Now apparently it's home to a ghost or two. One of them is an 18th century nanny, and another one, it's a maid who crosses the yard and then mysteriously goes into a brick wall. So we'll move on. Wow, isn't this pretty? Willow tree, ducks and the pond. Now the pond here always had an important role in village life. Carts and carriages were brought here to be washed and horses watered. And water from the pond was pumped to other parts of the village for use in hop washing. Hop growing was really big in the area for 150 years until the industry ceased here in the 1960s. And I think they also used to wash sheep here. But it really is quite beautiful. I can see some fish in there. I'm not a great expert on fish. They're sort of silver with red fins. Would they be chub? Now Buriton's quite a small village, population of about 750 or so, but it has 2 pubs. And this is the Five Bells. Dates back to the 17th century, I believe. And it's thought to have been named after St Mary's Church, which originally housed 5 bells in its tower. And this is the second pub, the Village Inn, previously known as the Maple Inn, and the Master Robert. And this one's got 15 bedrooms. I love the drawings of the ducks on the side there. Isn't that brilliant? And there's another one on the other side as well. Well, we're now back at the pond and we're going to start the walk out into the countryside properly now. Initially heading southwest down a little lane called South Lane, which is also known as Toad's Alley, which is intriguing to say the least. I'm puffing and panting already, and this is only the start of the ascent. Now I'm just about to go underneath a railway bridge that carries the London to Portsmouth line. The village never had a railway station. Apparently the gradient was too steep to actually construct one, so the nearest station is at Petersfield. Well, the gilet has been dispensed with. I don't think I'm going to need that for the rest of the walk. Okay, we're now just going to head through the remains of an old Limeworks, the chalk pits. Well, here we are, and the old Limeworks themselves used to be a very important industry in the area. Originally opened in the 1860s. There were 3 quarries here. In fact, there is a little information board just by me on the left here. And basically the chalk was excavated from the quarries and then burnt in a series of kilns to produce lime for the building industry. There was something like 40 people employed here, but that could rise to over 100 in the summer when there was greater demand for building. So it closed in 1939, and the whole area now is very much a nature reserve. And just looking out here, down below there, that used to be where the Huffman kiln was, that was demolished in 1948. So, looks as though we've got a little bit more uphill to go. Oh wow, look down here. Remains of an old little truck on rails. Presumably this went up into one of the quarries. I mean, they would have blasted the chalk and then prized it out in lumps, broken it up, and then it would have come down in little trolleys like these on trails, on tracks should I say, to the kilns. It's lovely they've still got one here. Well, we're nearly at the top of the chalk pits. There's a lovely little wooden seat that's been carved out with some sort of animal, perhaps a squirrel, on top. And there is actually a little chalk pit route that you can do. Now, we actually come down this path on the way back, so if you're feeling energetic, you could do that, add another half mile or so on, but you need to be pretty good with heights if you're going to do that. Now, we really have made it to the top of the chalk pit now. Now, actually on a long distance path called the Spipwrights Way, 50 miles that runs all the way from Alice Holt Forest in the north down to Portsmouth. It's supposed to represent the journey of an oak tree from being chopped down to being used to build a ship. Anyway, along that route there are something like 20 sculptures, and we've actually come across two of these before. There was the oyster and the tern that we saw in our walk at Hayling Island. Well, we've got another one just by me here, the snail. And here it is. It's number 11 in the series. Try not to get the sun in the screen. It's a cheese snail, which apparently is very rare. It's a protected species. The actual size is of your fingernail, and they usually live in old quarries, usually found under decaying logs, and they have this distinctive flat top cheese round shape. And during phases of dormancy, basically in the winter, the snail closes its aperture with a chalky white lid, which actually shows on this sculpture here. Okay, well, we've said goodbye to the snail. I'm crossing a little road called Kiln Lane, and we're going to go through a forestry commission car park called Hall's Hill, and then we're going to start another ascent where we're going to be joining the South Downs Way. But even from here, you get some quite beautiful scenery looking up to where we're going to be going in a few minutes' time. Another sculpture on the Spipwrights Way. This is number 12, and it's a sheep. Apparently it's a Hampshire down sheep. Hardy from a young age and long-lived. It's a relatively new breed, established in 1829, and Hampshire down rams are now often crossed with ewes of other breeds to improve quality. All these sculptures, by the way, have been carved by Richard Perry from the creamy Portland stone in 2014. So we're now heading, I think we're now on the South Downs Way, which is that 100-mile long distance path that runs from Winchester in the west to Eastbourne in the east. Well, how about that for a view? These lush grass meadows on the side of the hill, and then in the very, very far distance, looking sort of north east, I suppose, that's Blackdown Hill, highest point in Sussex. I just about make out the transmitter on the top. It's a hazy day and the temperature's perfect, just a light breeze keeping me cool as well. Beautiful spring day. Okay folks, we've come to an important point in the route if you're going to be following this from the maps that I put up right at the beginning. If I turn around, this is the, we've been coming along the South Downs Way, which as you can see heads that way. Now we will be coming back that way, but we'll be going out downhill that way. A nice little barbecue area halfway along through the route. Now we are in the Queen Elizabeth Country Park now. Huge area, something like 1,400 acres I think, created in 1976 and run by the East Hampshire District Council now. It's very popular with walkers and cyclists, and so I'm guessing it gets pretty busy during those peak summer months. A handy little map, show you where we've been. So we started off in the village here, made our way underneath the railway line, up through the quarries, chalk pit, and we joined this track here. And this is where we Went downhill, that's the barbecue area. That's where we are now, so we're going to carry on heading south, work our way along here, tum-tum, then back along here, and then the final bit along Hangers Way, which is across a meadow and back home. There's loads of car parks around here. If you're coming to the Queen Elizabeth Country Park, I think from memory it's £3 for 2 hours or £5 all day. Now, I've just noticed something called Dog Activity Trail. So we're here, well, it's not too far away. I think it's time for us to investigate. What do you reckon, Logan? Right, here we go. Dog activity course, 200 metres in length, 8 obstacles. We've got a podium, over and under, jump around, hurdles, slalom, jump in the box, raised walk, over and under. Oh my goodness. Right, we'll have a go. Well, I don't know who enjoyed that more, him or me. Not bad for his first go at agility, never done it before. Mind you, it helps if you've got a pork sausage in your hand. Let's get on with the walk. We've now come to probably the most southerly point of our route at the Staunton car park. You can probably hear the busy A3 dual carriageway behind me. And also in the very far distance on the other side of the little valley there is Butts Hill, because that's one of the highest points in Hampshire, 889 feet I think. I have painful memories of Butts Hill. They have a race there, 5-mile race every year, basically up and down 3 times I think. It's been going since 1978, and I did it decades ago, and in those days the finish was at the very, very top. I was speaking to someone the other day, they tell me that these days they have the finish at the bottom, which is much more civilised. Well, our final sculpture of the day that we're going to see anyway on the Spipwrights Way, it's a Roman villa, and you can see Logan's investigating for us. And basically there was indeed a Roman villa in the woods just to the side there. Of course, when it was in existence, none of these trees would have been here. The whole area was very much farmed. Okay, so we're going to continue along this track. I'd say that we are getting to see some quite beautiful areas of woodland. And a bit of a mixture. Okay, we've got quite a bit of conifer, but a few bits of deciduous as well. Of course, the green now just beginning to come out. Oh, just a lovely little spot to just stop for a moment or two to reflect. A little pond there. And this is panning around looking to the south. I can just about make out through those trees the Isle of Wight in a very, very far distance at a pinch, and the sea. And then this is continuing to look sort of southwards. And then this is the air path we're going to carry on. And it's going to gradually bring us round. We're sort of heading eastwards at the moment, and it's going to gradually bear round to the north. We should have some great views of a marvellous plantation as well along one side of a valley. Okay, just a quickie, if you're following this route heading north, you come to a junction. We take the higher path or track, not the lower path. So it's the track that's got a little sign of a foot on a blue background on a wooden post. Well, we're very much on the homeward leg now. This track here was the one that we originally came down right at the beginning, and then we headed downhill to the left to that barbecue area. So we've come back along here. What we need to do is look out for this downhill track. It's Hangers Way, which I think it goes all the way to Alton eventually, but it will take us down into the valley, and we'll come across a lovely meadow to walk through, and that'll take us back to the Halls car park, then back down through the quarry and back to the village. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do make a comment. As I always say, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. That way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. And do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. We've had a super walk today. The weather has been quite glorious once more, and some beautiful countryside. And we've had a lot of fun today, haven't we? Logan's got his little water bowl now, and we're just going to head back to the car. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio.